Alright, Clint, and whoever else is watching. This is a chuck roast. I got this from Central Market. Alright, this came off the loin end. This came off the end where from here over the rib. Okay, here over the rib roast. So where you make the prime rib, they cut it right along here. So what you're looking for is a chuck roast that looks like this, where you've got this rectangular piece of meat. You can have a little point that comes here like that, but you're looking for this fat seam, and then you're looking for this loose piece of meat right here. And the reason why is this right here is called the chuck eye. It's off the end of the ribeye, but it doesn't look as pretty, and it's left onto the chuck, and so it's called the chuck eye. And so all you do, a lot of times you don't even knife. You don't even need a knife here. You can just kind of pull it apart. But a knife does help. This is pretty tough. Get that little bit of sinew. You can mostly just pull it apart, except for that little bit. There's just a couple places where you need the knife. Just split this right along that fat seam until, well, in this case I was able to separate this. So what you have, this is the Denver steak. So this is about 12 bucks a pound. And this is, well, the chuck eye. If you want to dress it up a little nicer, you can take this little muscle off right here. And so let's do that. So down like that. Okay, so this makes a nice little quick minute steak. But this right here, this is not as pretty, but this cooks up the same as a ribeye. Alright, so to make it cook quicker, I usually just split this a little bit. So this will cook just a little more uniformly. I mean, you could continue to break this down as far as you want, but I just trim this a little bit off the edge here. Just so you have a cleaner edge to cook with. Take a little bit of silver skin off. Just clean it up a bit, just so you have a nice clean edge, so you don't have crispy burnt pieces on the edge when you put that nice crust on it. Okay, so over here I want to make sure I get all the silver skin off. So there's some right in here. That's very, very tough. So I'm going to separate out that little bit there, and then take the silver skin off. I like to come on the edge, and I'm lifting up while I'm working the knife, so I don't nick the meat very much. No, sorry. All right. Just right along here. So I leave as much of the lean on there as I can. I want to leave fat on there. But I want the silver skin off. If you don't separate the chuck eye into these two groups, you're gonna have that silver skin running in there. And so right here, you can tell right here, this is where this meat was connected on the ribs. Right here, right at the end. Okay. All right, got a little bit of silver skin there. Let me just take this down. A little bit right here. Yeah, you might lose a little bit of lean, but if you're careful, you won't lose very much. It'll make for a more enjoyable steak. You won't miss that bite or two. In fact, you'll regret leaving it on. Alright, now this got some fat, but there's no silver skin underneath this. So I want to keep that for flavor. And I could trim that up, but I'm not going to. Alright, so we've got a nice Denver steak. We've got a nice chuck eye. And we've got a nice other part of the chuck eye. Basically, I would consider this probably the cap that would go on the ribeye. Either way, both of these make a very nice piece of meat. Cook them exactly like a ribeye. This one you want to do low and slow. Brown it on the outside, get a nice Maillard reaction on it. You want to make sure that you get silver skin off. There's a little bit right here. You want to get that off. So again, just right here. Just right up underneath the underside of that silver skin. Kind of lift up. You can see the blade is bending a little bit. Just work it back and forth right here at the edge. And you'll notice there's really not a lot of lean attached to that. And so just hold this out, lift up with the knife while you're sawing back and forth. It's okay if the end of the steak lifts off just a little bit. And by doing that, you won't lose very much lean at all. This isn't even a bite. And you can reclaim that little piece if you like grind your own or whatever. So we've got that. Check under here. It's not yet silver skin. Well, here it is. So if you come in like, if you just come in, you're gonna bunch up the meat, and you're going to take lean, unless you're very careful. You got to pull that tight. Just let the knife do its magic. Okay. So again, very, very little lean that you lose, but getting rid of that silver skin makes this a much more enjoyable piece of meat. And so there we have the Denver. This is loose, so I'm going to take it off and keep that with the meat we're going to save. This is loose. I'll take this off. Again, I want to save that. And, well, there's just a little bit of silver skin right here. Let's just kind of take it off. Okay. Yeah. Take that off. Okay, and if you were into making your own tallow, you certainly render this. Alright, and I think that's enough trimming. You can continue trimming to your heart's content. There is, you're not going to get all the silver skin out of here unless you want to trim this so that you can make ground chuck. Alright, well there it is. You got a nice Denver. You got a nice cap. You got the nice ribeye. And then you've got these other little pieces of meat that are great for cooking up and snacking on. Or you can fillet them out very thin. And they work great for a steak sandwich. Just cut them very thin. So I can take that piece there, get rid of that on the edge. And you can butterfly these. So just, you want to butterfly along the long edge. So just push down. You gotta be careful because it's real easy to cut yourself. So I recommend a cut glove covered by some sort of a rubber glove, neoprene glove, something like that, nylon glove. And then almost got it. So there we have it. You can just, there you go. Something nice and thin, cooks up quick. Put 3-4 of these on a sandwich, you get a nice steak sandwich. Alright, you can definitely get 2-3 sandwiches out of that. Alright, so here's the good news. This is normally about 12 bucks a pound in the store. This is normally about $13 a pound. Together, I spent $11 a pound. This is grass-fed. I got for $11 a pound. So, it looks delicious. I saved quite a bit of money doing this. Now you're going to give up the pretty looking ribeye. Right, it's not going to be pretty looking, but this tastes the same, it eats the same, it cooks the same. However you like to cook your ribeye. Same with this. And then the Denver, cook it low and slow. Some moist heat would be nice. Alright, and you can tell because there's not quite as much marbling through this meat as you would find in a chuck roast off the grain lot. Alright, so there you have it. That's how you break down a chuck roast to get the more expensive cuts, but not every chuck roast has these cuts. So look for one that looks like I showed in the beginning of this video.